So first is alpha ray scattering. And distance of closest approach. This is the nucleus. These are the different orbits. So when different alpha rays are coming, so what was observed? Alpha we are knowing. What is that? Alpha particle. Alpha particle is what? Nucleus of
Helium.
helium. So it is He++. That means it has charge equal to 2 proton and mass almost 4 proton. That is 2 proton and 2 neutrons are there. So mass will be almost 4 times that of proton and charge is twice of that of proton. So what was observed? It was observed most of the alpha rays are going undeviated. They are passing undeviated. A few of them were scattered by larger angle, that is deviating by larger angle. Whereas very few were returning in the same direction. Nucleus. And most of the alpha particle was going undeviated. That means there was no force of attraction or repulsion on these alpha particles. They pass undeviated. In foil, suppose millions of rays are allowed to pass, then out of that what will be? Almost all were going undeviated. Very few of them were deviated by larger angle. Here what is that? If this is this angle, originally this one, then this is the angle of deviation or angle of scattering. The distance from the center we call impact parameter. This is not in our syllabus. We have not to know that. Only we are concentrating on this one. So in the ratio of, if we, out of 1800 alpha particle, almost one was able to return. When we see 1800 alpha particle, only out of 1800, nearly one alpha particle was able to return with larger angle. Larger angle in the sense means more than 90 degrees. It was coming in the same direction. It may be a 180 degree also. If it is directly pointing towards the nucleus, it will come 180. Very close to nucleus, this angle will become more than 90 degree. Okay. So on this basis only, the Rutherford gave the conclusion that most of the part of atom is empty. All the massive particles are concentrated within very small region, and this region was not called nucleus. After that, neutron, proton, and these are invented. So he told, means before that only neutron, proton was invented. So he got the conclusion that neutron and protons are inside the nucleus. So whatever neutrons are there, Z proton and A minus Z neutron, they are inside the nucleus. Z is atomic number, A we call mass number. So they are inside the nucleus. So when this alpha particle is trying to pass or going to very close to this nucleus, a force of repulsion was experienced. As a result, it was deviated from its original path. So he concluded the electrons are revolving around the nucleus. No concept of orbit was given by Rutherford. That was the main drawback of Rutherford, that you have done in chemistry. So suppose this is the nucleus. You have the different orbits, okay, maybe. So if alpha particle is allowed to is going to strike this nucleus. Just head-on collision like that. So here what is happening? Here protons are there. So many positive charges are there. Neutrons are also there, but there will be no effect. So when alpha particle, this is also positively charged. So when alpha particle is approaching towards this nucleus, the force of repulsion will start acting. So there will be a position from where this alpha particle will return. Suppose here the velocity is v, here its velocity will become 0. So after that, due to repulsive force, it will return. So from which distance it will return? This distance we call, the distance from the center of the nucleus we call distance of closest approach. Naturally, this will depend on the kinetic energy. If the energy is less, it may return from here only. If energy is more, it may go up to this place. Furthermore, it may return here. If furthermore, it may come to this from this place. So that will depend on what is the energy. So this distance of closest approach gives an idea of the radius of the nucleus or radius of the atom. Afterwards, this was also, there was some problem here also, because the concept of nuclear force was not considered here. What happened when this energy is given? When it approaches very close to the nucleus, then along with this repulsive attractive force also start acting. As a result, the returned one, the reflected one or the scattered one, alpha particle, will have energy less than this incident energy. But as we know, this electric force, if there is only the repulsive force, that is electrostatic force, that is a conservative force. So energy should not be lost. Whatever kinetic energy here, when it reaches here, it is converted into electric potential energy. When it is returning, again that energy is converted into kinetic energy. There should not be any loss. This happens only up to certain limit. If it crosses that limit, the nuclear force start acting and then kinetic energy will change. That will come to another chapter, that is nucleus. The kinetic energy of the alpha particle changes into electrostatic potential energy. So all kinetic energy of alpha particle changes into electrostatic potential energy. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught energy Q1 Q2 over R square. Electrostatic potential energy of the two particle system is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 over R, not R square. R square will come in field. So Q1 Q2 over R, that is the general formula for potential energy stored by two particle system, two charge particle system. So here Q1 means what? Energy of alpha particle, sorry, charge of alpha particle, charge of nucleus over R naught, or just this kinetic energy will be how much? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught alpha particle, charge is twice E, charge of nucleus, it has got only Ze, atomic number is Z suppose, over R naught. So this R naught will be 2, we can cancel here, or we will leave like that only, no problem. So it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught twice Ze square over EA. Or you can learn like this, Ze square over 2 pi epsilon naught EA. So this is, now sometime what will be, for this EK you will be given what are the things, maybe half mv square, velocity of alpha particle will be given. Here m means mass of alpha particle, not the mass of proton, or it may be sometime you will be given momentum, or sometime it will be given alpha particle is accelerated by this much potential difference. So in that case what will be, charge of alpha particle into potential difference. Then magnetic field is created. As a result, there will be loss in energy. Energy will be radiated by the moving charge particle. So energy will keep on decreasing, and the orbit will keep on decreasing, that is radius will keep on decreasing, and finally the electron will fall in nucleus. But practically it is not happening. No, any atom is stable. It remains for whatever it is. Once it is formed, many atoms are there, they are very stable. So once it is formed, they are not destroyed like this. Electron is not going into that. That means there was something wrong in the concept. And that was corrected by Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr was the scientist who corrected it. According to him, what was the change? He brought the concept of stable orbit. So everywhere electron can't move. There are certain fixed orbit where the electrons can revolve. And when they are revolving in these orbit, there is no change in the energy. Only those orbits are allowed in which there is no change in energy of the electron. So electron will keep on revolving, but there will be no change. Energy will be absorbed or radiated or emitted by the electron only when it changes the orbit. If it is going from lower orbit to higher orbit, that can be done by absorbing fixed energy. That energy will calculate, we will derive that expression. While when electron jumps from higher orbit to lower orbit, it will radiate the same amount of energy. Whatever energy is absorbed or whatever energy it can emit, both will be numerically same when they are jumping from same orbit to same orbit. Means suppose third to first it is jumping, or from first it is going to the third. Then energy absorbed or energy emitted will be same. Okay. Only those orbits are allowed for which angular momentum is given by the multiple of h cross. So that was the first postulate. Or sometimes you can write n h cross. H cross means h by 2 pi, we say. H is Planck's constant. H by 2 pi frequently it is used, so that's why sometimes we use the symbol h cross. So if angular momentum of the electron revolving in that orbit, angular momentum of electron revolving in that orbit is given by the product of or the multiple of h by 2 pi. So this L we say it is NH over 2 pi. Now what is L? When electron is revolving in any orbit, what is that L? So this L is either you can find R cross P, or we say this L will be I omega. Any formula you can apply? R cross P or I omega in rotational motion we have done in class 11. So this R cross P means what will be? This is R into MV. This is R vector, this is V vector. So R cross P, that is perpendicular like that. So sin 90. So it is MVR. If you are using this one, then what will be? What is moment of inertia of the electron? mr square, where r is the radius, is revolving. If you take the axis of rotation like this, so mr square, and in place of omega we can write v over r. So it can be mr square omega or it can be mvr. mr square omega. So either this or this we can use. So this is our angular momentum. So this angular momentum must be NH over 2 pi, where N is what? N is what? N is number of orbit. That is first orbit, second orbit, third orbit, like that. And this only we say principal quantum number. Second postulate is what? When it revolves in the orbit, there will be no loss or gain in energy. Third one is what? When electron jump from one orbit to other orbit, there will be change in energy. Loss or gain in energy will take place only when electron jumps from one orbit to other. So we will start from this part only. So we can derive for any nucleus, any atom. For hydrogen, the special case will come. In our syllabus, it is specially mentioned for hydrogen atom. So there is no difference. We can consider any atom. So suppose this nucleus has got Z proton and A minus Z neutrons are present. And we are considering any electron which is revolving in maybe nth orbit. Radius of the orbit is r. So one equation will be the angular momentum is equal to nh cross h over 2 pi. That is, this mvr is nh over 2 pi. This is our one equation. Now, how is it able to revolve in this circular path? If you can give the idea of circular orbit, Bose gave the assumed that orbit is circular, but afterwards it was modified. So this centripetal force, so using the concept of or considering orbit to be circular, orbit to be circular, what will be this mv square by r must be equal to the force of attraction between the nucleus and the electron. The centripetal force will be given by the force of attraction between the nucleus and the electron. So it must be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 over, that is ZE into E over R square. This mv square R will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught ZE square. Now if we divide this equation by this, second we will divide by first. What will you get? ZE square twice epsilon naught and x. This is when the electron is revolving in nth orbit. Sometimes we give symbol Vn. Nth orbit, you can say. Because this V will keep on changing. Now, if Z is 1 and N is 1, if Z is 1, N is 1, what we'll get? E square over 2 epsilon naught x, that is constant, that will not depend on any atom. So this we are writing, this Vn will be Z over N V naught, where this V naught is E square over twice epsilon naught h. And when Z is 1, means which atom? Hydrogen.
Hydrogen.
N is 1, first orbit. That means this is the velocity of electron revolving in first orbit of hydrogen. Its value is fixed. That you have to find. Is the velocity of, or speed we can say, is the speed of electron revolving in first orbit of hydrogen atom. One 184 into 10 to the power 7.
Just 6 at a time.
6. Nearly it is 2.2 into 10 to the power 6 meter per second. Okay. Now, if we substitute the value of this one in any one of the equations, suppose first one only we are writing, substituting the value. So this is our velocity. This is general expression. We frequently use this one because V naught is fixed. Only Z by N will be different. In second orbit, maybe half of this in case of hydrogen. Third orbit, 1/3 of this. So velocity will keep on decreasing as the distance increases from the center of the, or from the nucleus, that is orbit. Okay. So this Vn is inversely proportional to 1 by N. Directly proportional to Z. The velocity of the electron. Now, if we substitute this value in first equation, so from first and third we are getting first. This also we are giving symbol Rn, that is radius in the nth orbit. Maybe this is Rn, this is Vn. Here also you can make Rn only. This is MVN Rn. Radius of the nth orbit. Okay, now correct? Frequently this type of question is asked. If the radius of the first orbit of hydrogen is 0.53, what will be the radius of fourth orbit? Then directly we use this one. Fourth orbit means 4 square of R0. Third orbit, 3 square of R0. Like that, sometimes it is asked 1 mark question. So this R is directly proportional to N square if Z is constant. The atomic number is not changing. Same atom we are comparing, first orbit, second orbit, third orbit. Then it will be directly proportional to N square or Rn, whatever you say. And this R is inversely proportional to Z if N is constant. That is radius of first orbit of hydrogen or first orbit of sodium. We can compare by this one. So radius of first orbit of sodium will be less because more force of attraction is there. Here more number of protons are there. So it will have more force of attraction. So electron will be attracted towards the nucleus. That's why radius decreases. So this is about velocity and radius.